basically I had a burnout pretty bad. I was worrying about money and stressing, and I was working like 16-hour days, like 6 days a week. And I did that for 3 years. All of a sudden, like half my hair fell out. I lost like 40 pounds in like 10 days. I went to the doctor. I was like, what's wrong with me? You know? And they were like, yeah, we checked your blood. You're okay. Your blood pressure is really high. You're about to fucking stroke out and have a heart attack. I was like, oh shit.
Welcome to Fruiting Body Podcast with your host, Brendan. And today we have another legend of a guest. It is my good friend, Pete Larocque. You might have seen Pete on a previous episode. He was helping us do the Chinese translations for Zhang Weili. Today we're going to be focusing on what brought Pete to Thailand and how it saved his life. We're going to leave timestamps on all of our podcasts. So just go down, you can click, you can see chapters, you can navigate. If you're tired of listening to me ramble right now, just skip ahead and there's probably something interesting Pete's going to say. So check that out. Fruiting Body Podcast. Fruiting Body is a medicinal mushroom company located on the island of Phuket, Thailand. Today with Pete, let's chill some shit. He is doing Thai High Corporation. It's his new business down in Patong. Go check it out. Glass and grass. Get high as fuck and have an awesome time. Buy. You better buy. So if you're watching, buy. I don't know. That's the end of my shilling. I'll put that on the table, yeah? Okay. We're going to get this started as we do. Am I missing something? We got a checklist over here. Let me check it out. What am I missing? Oh, subscribe. Yeah, that's on the list. Yeah, we forgot that. What do you think? Should they subscribe?
Yeah,
No,
I would.
I would unsubscribe on this episode, to be honest.
Oh, Jesus. I definitely will.
Yeah, hit the thumbs down and unsubscribe because this ain't going to be a good one. It's going to be the best. Okay, we'll get this started. All right, thanks, bud. You're back again.
Here
Legend. Did you watch the Zhang Weili episode?
Yeah, I did. It was good.
Yeah,
It's good.
What happened? Tell me a part in it. Well, you were here.
I don't know.
Oh,
I just like, it was cool. It was just cool meeting her. She was so nice and just down to earth.
Yeah, she
Interesting.
was.
She's cool.
Yeah, and her coach was there, and
Yeah, she's just, just chill.
yeah, she's pretty dialed in. She's pretty scary.
Yeah, I watch her doing pad work at the Bang Tao Muay Thai, and I was scared.
Yeah.
Like I wouldn't even want to hold pads for her. I don't think my elbows could handle it. It's just like the power and those kicks and punches, just ridiculous.
Yeah, she went on. She won the belt. She'll be back. I don't know if she's going to China with all the shit going down, but hey,
Let's get her on with the belt. That'd be cool.
I think she would probably come back if she comes back in February.
I want to hold it. I want to hold a UFC belt. That's crazy. Not everybody gets to do that, right?
I wonder if she'll be traveling with it. I don't know.
Probably
I
not.
was going to say maybe the Chinese government just takes it from them, but I'm
I'm
joking.
It's mine.
I'm joking. Jeez, if that gets outdoors anyways, it's probably over. All right, let's move forward on that. Hans, cut that out. I'm joking. Okay, so we go way back. I lived in China. He lived in China. Pete's been in China for 15 years. His Chinese is better than a lot of Chinese people's Chinese. It's on another level. Let's go back to the beginning before you coming to China and just let's walk through your story. We know that you're doing sourcing. We'll get into that in the nitty gritties, but actually what brought you to China and then eventually leading you to Tanzania and Phuket? Walk us through your story, bud.
Okay, so basically, when I was 18, I left Canada, and my brother lives in Holland, so I traveled a lot in Europe. I lived there for about 2 years on and off, and then when I went back to Ottawa, I was like, this sucks, after having 2 years of adventures traveling around Europe, I just couldn't handle the life there. And then I was like, okay. So actually I did a teaching certificate to teach kids. And my plan was I was going to move to Spain and teach there to be closer to my brother and his family, his kids. And then when I was doing my teaching course, my teacher said, hey, you should go to Yangshuo, China, which is beautiful. It has all the karst mountains. It kind of looks like Pangna.
That's like Guilin.
Yeah, Guilin, south of Guilin, like an hour and a half. It's beautiful. So I was like, okay. She's like, yeah, I can hook you up with a job there. She said, before you go to Spain, go to China, check it out. It's awesome. And she hooked me up with a job. I said, okay, I'll go for a summer. I'll go to 2 months there. Yeah. And then, when I went there, I had just the best time. It was just awesome. The Chinese people were so nice and just, I didn't go home for 2.5 years. I was supposed to be gone 2 months. I didn't go home for 2.5 years. So I went there when I was, I ended up moving there when I was 21, 2001. And I eventually moved to Shenzhen, to the big city. And then, I started, I was teaching there too. Then I opened a few training centers, a few schools with my boss at the time. It was a Taiwanese lady. And then business was good, but I was getting stressed out a little bit with this, a lot going on. And it was a lot of work. And then I sold my half to an English guy. And then I started doing trading with Casto. And we were sending secondhand cars to Tanzania, to Africa, because he's from Tanzania. And we had internet cafes and DVD shops. This is before iPhones. This is like in the 2000s. And then after 15 years in China, I needed a change. And then my partner and I were like, okay, we wanted to open a safari company. That was the dream, right? Because ever since I was a kid, I was my dream to go on safari. So I was like, fuck it, let's just do one. Tanzania is the best. It's the hub.
Up in Arusha, then.
Yeah, up in Arusha. So you have the Serengeti, Kilimanjaro is there. It's the tallest freestanding mountain in the world. You have the Ngorongoro crater, and then like Tarangire National Park, Lake Manyara. These are all like really famous national parks. Basically, if you watch National Geographic, I'd say 90% of the safari stuff is filmed in Tanzania. And there's also some like in Kruger National Park down in South Africa too. But the main, the most wildlife is up in Tanzania.
What was it like living in Tanzania? Because I'm sure, like most guests we have on it, we can always share the experience of China and other places around Southeast Asia, but it's pretty rare foreigners living in Tanzania. As a foreigner, what was it like?
It was difficult. I'd say there's a lot of corruption and a lot of poverty. At that time, I think Tanzania was the 5th poorest country in the world. So you see a lot of misery due to poverty, malnutrition, people dying of malaria. I mean, it's so poor that you think about it, you can cure malaria for $10. You just buy a couple pills, you take them for 2 days. That's it. It's a bacteria, right? That's growing your body. But people are still dying from that because if you don't have $10, you don't have $10. And if nobody around you has $10, how do you get $10 to cure malaria or, and you can never get rid of malaria by yourself. It breeds in your body. It's bacterial, right? So that's why there's no like vaccine against malaria. It's not a virus.
So you see, I mean, it's pretty.
We would.
It's all over.
Sometimes
not the malaria side, but like the poverty side.
Oh yeah, it's just and there's a lot of crime due to that, right? I mean, the theft and it's pretty safe. The people there were of course, there's some areas that are more dangerous than others, but it was difficult. And after when the internet became better and there was iPhones, well, then the DVD shop eventually didn't work out. Internet cafes disappeared because everyone, can get a cheap,
Nokia
or a Samsung, a cheap Android phone. Everybody was finding a way to get them, and secondhand phones and stuff. So, we started. I moved there first. My partner stayed in China, and then I started. I was in Dar es Salaam for a year, and then we moved up to Arusha for 2 years, and we bought the Land Cruisers, and we invested in that. And at that time, Magufuli, who's dead now, he died this year.
The president?
Yeah, he died. He had just come into power, so we had been before I moved over, we sent like 6 containers of secondhand cars from Hong Kong. We were doing that because they drive like in Thailand on the left-hand side, right? So so we did that and we shipped them over. And then he came in. There was an election at the time. I think it was in September, October. And then he's like, okay, the way he got to win the election, he's like, I'm going to get rid of all the corruption in Tanzania. So everybody voted him in. And he's like, we're starting with the port. So basically, he closed the port after we had sent our containers. And then our containers were like on the sea waiting for ages. And then we had to store them. And we were paying, I don't remember how much it was, like $100 a day per container or something like that. And they were stuck for months. So it was just like training. And then once he came in, to power, everybody's the easy money wasn't flowing around. The people were more scared to they started checking the bank accounts and becoming really strict, right? Make sure people were paying their taxes. So people stopped buying secondhand cars. Now I've got tons of cars. There's 3 in Canada. We have like 20 cars. I'm putting them everywhere. We're trying to sell them. No one's buying them. I'm trying to sell them super cheap. We were like losing on them. You know what I mean? Like we're like, fuck. So anyways, I managed to get some investment to finish off buying off the Land Cruisers and setting up the business. And it was a good business, but then he also increased the park fees. He added like 28% increase on the park fees to go in. So then all of a sudden, it was way cheaper to go on safari in Kenya, which was 200 kilometers north of Arusha. And 10% of the Serengeti is in Kenya, which is not most of the animals are in Tanzania. But hey, if your holiday is going to be half the price, right? Because going on safari is not cheap, right?
Oh, you're talking 5-7 grand.
Yeah. Oh yeah, easy. It depends. There's 3-day, 5 days, 7-day, 10-day, 14-day packages, and if you're doing like 3-star, 4-star, 5-star, right? But anyways, yeah. And so yeah, it didn't work. It failed. And I was like, okay. And, Claire, Luke and I were like, okay, we have enough of it. I was just like, yeah, let's just get out of here. But while I was there, the last year that I was there, I also had a company in China called Harbin Institute of Technology, and they hired me as a consultant. So I was in Tanzania a month, and then I'd be in China a month, and a Tanzania a month, and in China a month, like that for a year, which was hard on the family because they're alone there, and it's, and hard on me because I was worried. But yeah, that's when I started coming to visit you because we've been friends, over 10 years now?
Yeah.
10, 15 years. So yeah, I started popping in to see you, and then I was like, yeah, this place is awesome. And then I brought Claire here, check it out. And then when I was like closing the business, selling the Land Cruisers, selling my van, my truck, just getting rid of all my stuff, right? I was like, okay, where do we go? And she was like, Phuket. I was like, yes. I said that inside though. I was like, okay. And then, yeah. And then when we got here, we were trading. We were always doing some trading with Brent to the US and stuff.
Yeah, and you had your trading company in China, and you're still doing.
Yeah, so that kept going, and then we were doing a little bit more US and European business, but we were also doing like some construction materials to Africa, especially to South Africa. And yeah, so we kept doing that, but it was like, okay, it was difficult to do because of the time difference, right? So that there was like a 5-hour time difference. So it was hard to run the safari company. And I had a burnout, which was pretty bad. I was worrying about money and stressing. Everybody knows worrying about money is the worst. And I was working like 16-hour days, like 6 days a week. And I did that for 3 years. So I all of a sudden, like half my hair fell out. I lost like 40 pounds in like 10 days. I just like, and basically I went to the doctor. I was like, what's wrong with me? And they were like, yeah, we checked your blood. You're okay. Your blood pressure is really high. Like you're about to fucking stroke out and have a heart attack. I was like, oh shit. They're like, yeah. You're like, are you stressed out? I was like, yeah. Like, are you working a lot? Are you sleeping enough? I'm like, so yeah, they're like, you're going to die. You're going to have a heart attack or a stroke if you don't fucking change something. So then Claire was like, yeah, let's just, call it quits. I was like, yeah, I agree. So it took me a while to recover from that. I was pretty worn down
and that's before you even got here.
That's before I got here. And then we planned to move in December, and then, that like, we're like, oh, in 5 months we'll leave. And then I was just like, no, like I'm fast tracking that. Like we're leaving like 2 months earlier. So we just sold all our shit real quick. I sent a container of like all our furniture and TVs. It's hard to get stuff like that in Tanzania. It's really expensive because import tax is like ridiculous, like 45% or something. So anyways, we come here and I started, my business picked up with Brent. I was doing a lot of vape cartridges and vape stuff to the US, and that was growing a lot. We were doing well. And yeah, and I was selling bongs also to Canada, to Holland, to the US. So I'd been doing that for a while, and then things were getting really good. Business was good, everything was on the up and up, and then COVID came, and then destroyed everything because all the buyers just stopped buying. And then there's like this Trump was saying like, oh, COVID, if you vape, remember they were saying in the States like, oh, if you vape, that's what's causing you to, but it was COVID. Like you'll die if you smoke vape because there's like vitamin E sticking to your lungs or some shit, some bullshit. But it was the actual virus. So then, after COVID, I was like, okay, weed got legalized. I was like, okay, well, let's, I sold weed when I was a kid a lot. Like
I think most Canadians probably
do. From like 12 years old to 18.
Hey, mom and dad, yeah.
My mom knew. But yeah, so I was like, oh, I know a lot about weed. Let's do that. So when it got legalized, I was like, okay, let's do that. Let's open but I want to do something different. So I've been wholesaling on the island. I talked to Brent and I was like, yo, let's open a weed shop. Right. He's like, okay. So we were a little bit late opening. A lot of people got in right at the beginning and went for it. I was like, okay. But we've been open a month now, and we had the grand opening last Saturday, 3rd of December. And it's going really well.
Yeah, I came and checked it out. Some people are popping in and out. I tried to do the Larry David show up nice and early. But also like the issue is the traffic's just unbearable, and everyone on the island knows that. I didn't want to go too late.
Yeah, it's from the flood, right?
I came in. The shop's awesome. It's looking great. We'll leave all links in the description about that. And actually, before we'll jump into the shop, and I want to ask a few questions about that. Before that, just a quick shout out to 5-Star Marine. 5-Star Marine's been helping support this podcast. They're basically just kind of covering our bills so we can operate, and I'm not out of pocket every other month. But go check them out. They are it's like a VIP speedboat tour company on the island of Phuket. They're doing some great stuff. If you don't want to deal, with the typical salesman selling you speedboats and taking you to where you don't want to go, these guys are the ones that are going to give you that private tour. So links in the description. Check that out. Back to your shop. I checked it out. It's looking great, especially with these bongs. Now, they're coming in from China as well.
Yeah. It's my main supplier from before that I was using to export, and we're a bong wholesaler. So basically, we're selling a lot of weed, right, to tourists. The bongs are selling too to tourists, but we have a lot of shops coming in, and basically, if they buy 10 bongs or more, they get the wholesale price, and then they're just coming in, ordering. We're supplying shops in Samui, Chiang Mai, Bangkok, Phuket a lot.
Yeah, and I noticed a lot of the weed as well that you're able to I don't smoke a lot. I used to as a kid, but now it just makes me, if I smoke, I'm going to eat pizza and just pass it on the floor. But
you do that anyways.
Yeah. But this, the product and the quality that you're bringing in, I mean, it's on another level compared to, let's say, some of the competitors in that area.
Well, I mean, right now it's easy to get good weed. A lot of places have good weed. What we're trying to do is avoid PGR weed, okay? So PGR is plant growth regulators. And basically what that does is it makes your weed like a hard, dense, really nice looking, nice smelling bud. But the problem with PGR weed is it looks really good and it smells really good. But when you smoke it, it doesn't have usually as much of a high THC level. And it doesn't taste good because plant growth, it's chemicals, right? And PGR weed is incredibly bad for your body. You're smoking fertilizer. So if you smoke PGR weed, there's a lot of free radicals in that, and they're very, very, very bad for your body. It's cancer causing.
And it's hard to tell the difference until you actually were to kind of use it.
Well, yeah, I should have brought some. I show you some PGR versus real weed that's just. And I mean, good indoor weed is also grown with AB fertilizer. It's like vitamins for it, but they flush the plants, and it's not plant growth regulators is different. It's like, I don't know how to explain it. It's a little bit complicated, but yeah, a lot of people have PGR weed in Patong. People are like, wow, it looks amazing. It looks amazing. But the weed we have is like the original, like big calyxes, hairy, crystally, but it's not these dense little nuggets where you get like a gram like that. And then, when you smoke it, okay, it's all right. But that the weed we have right now is just phenomenal. It's grown in Thailand, but by foreigners.
Is it indoor?
It's indoor, absolutely. We don't sell outdoor.
If people are coming to Thailand, and I'm sure a lot will be flooding the markets as well in the next couple of years. You're still quite early. In terms of like certifications, licenses, is this a difficult path to go after, or did you kind of find it easy to navigate?
it was all right. I got my lawyers to do everything. So we have a cannabis selling license.
Yep.
And everything's legit. And our grower also is legit, and they have licenses. And they they just have really, really nice weed. It's grown by a French guy, and he's a horticulturalist.
But is it fully legalized in Thailand? Because I mean, doesn't it still have to go through the National Gazette to be able to be officially legalized, or is there still room for risk?
I don't know. I just haven't had much. It's weird because they just passed the bill like 2-3 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Saying that. Okay, like if you smoke inside your shop, or if you have a smoking room, you need to have a Thai herbal doctor there, and they put in some sort of law because before it was just like it's legal, it's just the Wild West. Like there was nothing in place, there was no legislation, nothing. It was just sell weed. You know what I mean? So then the Ministry of Health is, I think, trying to like criminalize it again to, I guess, not make it for recreational use. But I just think that it will be very hard to do that again because you've opened the floodgates. It's hard to close them. And also, I believe that, I don't think cannabis is bad. I mean, if you compare it to alcohol, I mean, getting baked or going out and getting drunk, I'd say when I smoke weed, I feel fine the next day. When I'm hungover, it takes me 3 days to get back to normal.
How you feeling today?
Hungover. But I smoked some weed earlier, so I'm feeling a lot better.
Yeah, I mean that's probably the trouble working in Bangla too. When the office there's you're in the devil's den.
And you're in the guts. But I've been pretty good so far. But yeah, I'm with the weed. Also, what I think this will be the best year for tourism ever in Phuket, probably in Thailand. They're having record numbers of people flooding in. So there's, I think, a few factors contributing to that. There's no more COVID, right? Or there's COVID, but it's not. Yeah, it's not there's no. You don't need a vaccine passport. Like I'm not vaccinated. I will never get vaccinated. So people can travel. There's no Thai pass for the COVID, and there's no quarantine when you come in. And weed's legal. So this Phuket right now is like the Amsterdam of Asia. People coming in from all over, especially like the Middle East, and places like Singapore and Malaysia where it's incredibly illegal. Talking about death penalties and stuff.
The roads are I mean, just because the Kathu Road is closed as well, but I mean, the traffic I've seen the past 2 weeks has been. This traffic for the past 2 weeks is
like Bangkok traffic. It's insane.
Well, it's usually like that, like the 1 week at Christmas, New Year's, where you just get that week.
Yeah,
it's been that the whole time.
Oh yeah, it's been that for like a month and a half.
You came from like Blue Tree, and how long did it take you to get to CERN? 45 minutes.
Yeah, for 50 minutes. Usually that's a 5-minute drive normally to get here from my place. So yeah, when sometimes I drive to Patong, it takes me 2 hours. It's just like it should take me 25 minutes.
Will you end up switching to a motorbike soon, you think? Or
no, because there's so much traffic. People are driving around like maniacs, right? It's just dangerous, especially on the beach road. People are trying to pass on the shoulder on these cliffs. I just don't find it, safe. I think Phuket it's the most dangerous place in the world to drive. Phuket. Thailand is number 2. South Africa is number 1 country-wise. But Phuket, for the population to accident and accident to death ratio, is the highest in the world. So this is the most dangerous place in the world to drive.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Well, don't knock on
So yeah. So careful on the scooters,
Yeah, I've been like going to Boat Avenue on Friday. We went last Friday night, and like it's only because I've lived here so long, but like I was going through people's like backyards on my motorbike. I'm like, I was finding all the little trails, and like I can avoid it. Yeah. But if you don't know every little nook and cranny on the back Bang Tao.
And the problem is now you get all the tourists that are on the motorbikes, right? Zinging around and a lot of people, I think most of the deaths is because you get people who have never ridden a scooter before. They jump on a scooter like, oh, that's the gas. So you've never ridden a scooter before. You're on tight little roads, right? The roads here are really small and narrow. And then you have people like airport vans ripping around and people, and it's just like, I think most of it is people getting hit on scooters by trucks.
And you can always see them a mile away because they always have that like rental helmet on.
Yeah,
it's
and they
like,
go, oh, and you can see they're not used to the gas. It's like, if you've ridden a bicycle and then you jump on a scooter and you have your girlfriend and your backpack, it's different. And then you're on these mountain roads going up and down, winding. It's steep sometimes. Like, I know you like people who live here. People who live here are so used to it and they're good at driving on the scooters. But, and also what happens is you get people who are used to driving like in Canada on the right, and here it's on the left. So they get confused as well. So not only are they on a scooter for the first time with their girlfriend, and they're all mixed up with they look this way and then they pull out in the street and a car like zings by like, whoa, oh yeah, shit, like I almost died. And unfortunately,
and
a lot of people do.
Everyone's drinking as well. I mean,
yeah, they're drunk on the scooters and now they're going to be baked as well. And but before they were baked as well, you could always get weed in Thailand before, right? There's reggae bars and stuff everywhere. But now the weed is like, California, Canada, Amsterdam quality. Like we have some weed that's 30% THC. Like when I was a kid, we were getting good indoor, but it was probably max 15 to 20. You smoke 30% THC, like I'll knock your socks off.
Yeah, I gotta give it I saw you showed me some stuff. I'm like, what if I smoke that? You're like, no, you're not going anywhere for a while.
Yeah, but those are indicas. I'll get you some stuff, some weed that you can smoke that you'd be like, okay, you don't have to like burn the whole joint. Take a few hoots and then you feel just okay. Don't smoke till you get anxiety, but just a few hoots, put it down. Like me, I don't smoke that much weed. I don't smoke during the day. I smoke when I get home. I just want to watch Netflix. I'll roll a gram joint. It'll last me like 5 days. I'll just take a few toots, put it in the ashtray. It just sits in the ashtray till I'm done it, and that's it. Otherwise, if I get too baked, I got a business to run and I got stuff to do.
I'm aware, but people that are not, the difference between indica and sativa.
Okay. Yeah. Well, so indica makes you stoned. It's a little more heavy and it's stuff to chill you out. Usually after, you smoke indica, when it wears off, you get burnt out, you're tired, you want to sleep. Sativa is more like cerebral. You get high. So it's high versus stoned. That's the way I'd put it. And so if people come into our shop, in the daytime, they always want sativas. Right now, it's hard to get pure sativa and pure indica. They're all hybrids. Everything's like, Monster, Cookie, Kush. So basically how they mix the plants is they'll take a female plant, the cannabis plant, right, of one strain, and then they'll get the seeds from a different state, a male ones, right, seeds from a Kush plant, and then they pollinate them together. So it's just like with people, you know what I mean? It's like mixing races, which is it's just cool. Yeah, it's cool. You just it's like
why couldn't you get pure? Like what's the barrier there?
Well, because they've mixed so many, and that I think that's how they got a lot of the THC higher. So they're like, okay, they're coming out with new strains and mixing them to make super buds, right? It's just like also like if you like let's say I don't know how, like inbreeding, right? It's better if you breed with people that are further. Like if you imagine you have a little village, right? That's 500 people, and they just breed and breed and breed and breed. Eventually, there's blood mixing there, right? It's better to, breed.
Diversify.
Yeah, exactly, and have blood from right. So I think that's what they're doing with the weeds is they're mixing these strains to make these super strains for high yield, high THC. So yeah, like the weed now these days is just it's amazing. And the reason why I can't smoke too much, okay, I'm older and I've got stuff to do, but the weed now is just it's so strong. Like, I mean, some people come into my shop and I'm just like, I just sit there. We have bongs on the table for people to use, and when people smoke, they just I'll see people go outside and they just smoke a whole joint. I'm like, wow, like how? You know what I mean? Like I feel like that.
And they're not comatose.
Yeah, I know, but I guess they have a high tolerance. Some people eat a lot of edibles too and stuff, and but yeah, like definitely people who come in, they want some high weed. I said, okay, these are sativas, And then, they smell them, they have a look, and then they choose the ones they want. And then people usually come in the evening, or, they'll want some indicas. But sativa is definitely more popular.
Yeah, I think especially King was announcing that about a year ago. He even said he wanted Thailand to be the Amsterdam of Southeast Asia. And now the cat's out of the bag. I mean, it's awesome. Have you seen any estimates on how much the cannabis industry is going to add to the Thai GDP?
I don't know, but a lot.
Billions.
And not just from the weed, but from the money that the weed brings in. So, when tourists come here, they're like, yeah, let's go to Phuket, or let's go to Thailand and Chiang Mai, wherever, and we'll go there and we can just buy tons of weed and just go to the beach and go on holiday, go on these mountains and get baked. But also those people they're buying food, they're filling the hotels up, they're buying gas, they're renting scooters. It's just so good for the economy just to have that rush of tourists come in. They're going to Bangla, they're drinking, they're partying, they're buying merchandise. So yeah, I think the Ministry of Health now is trying to get it recriminalized. But I think when they see the amount of money that it pumps into the country after this 3-year drought because of COVID, right? Like, COVID was horrible. I felt really bad for the local Thai people. It was terrible. I think it was something like 12,000 hotels closed or something in Thailand. It's really, a lot of people's livelihood depend on tourism, and those poor people, man, is really, really hard for them. It's horrible.
Down here on the beach here for 2 years,
sad.
it was dead.
Yeah,
like literally dead. And today it's like you can't even find parking now.
Yeah, it's so.
But I mean, I guess if someone's planning a vacation from Europe and maybe they're initially wanting to go to Indonesia or Bali, Malaysia, these places where it's highly illegal, and maybe you got 2 weeks off. Smoking without getting in trouble might be the factor that ends up bringing you here as well.
For sure. And also, like, we have a really nice shop. I've decorated it really well, but there's a lot of nice shops. Like I go to there's a lot of shops I go to, and they're all very different, and I go inside and I'm like, wow, like this is a nice, chill, like some are like Amsterdam coffee shop style, like little dens, and some are really nice and fresh and new with LEDs everywhere, and some have like weed plants everywhere. They're cool. Like if you go around, especially in Patong, and you go to weed shops. They're cool.
Do you see other foreigners like yourself opening up a lot of shops?
Sure.
What is it right now like in that area? Is it like a 50-50 Thai foreigner, or is it more like 80-20?
I would say, I'd say 50-50. I'd say half and half. And it's kind of strange. Like, I'm very social. I like being in the shop. I like talking to people. I like selling the weed. But I was wholesaling to a lot of shops, right, for many months before there was so many farms and suppliers of weed. So I've noticed there's a lot of animosity between cannabis dispensaries. So basically, like, because there's a lot, and we're close to each other. Everyone's close. So I'll see, like, oh, these guys are there, and then this guy opened across the street, or just down the street, or closer to Bangla from them, and then they don't talk to each other. They're like, there's a little bit of beef there between them. Like, okay, like, fuck you, you know what I mean? Like, oh, you're tapping into my business, right? The competition. But for me, because I wholesale to everybody, I know them all. So I know all all the foreigners. I know the Thais. I know everybody. So I don't have that because we're doing okay. Everyone's doing okay. So what I did is at my grand opening, I invited everybody, all the shops, because I'm wholesaling bongs to them as well. So I was like, okay, I want everybody to get along. Like, I don't know if that sounds
some camaraderie in the area.
Yeah, but the thing is they're all good people, and I'm like, you're so cool, and I'm thinking, you know who you'd get along with really well? Your fucking neighbor, 15 meters away. Like, if you guys actually met and like talked, you guys would probably become good friends. But you have this barrier of like, oh, you're the competition. I can't I can't.
Well, it's also these are weed shops. You're in the same business, same industry, and weed is much more mellow. I think it'd be different if there were meth shops all over the place.
Oh yeah, that'd be we call that Stabbiton. Yeah, Stabtown.
That'd be pretty trouble. What about these with weed being legalized? I haven't been out in Bengal in probably 2 years, 3 years. I mean, I just don't care. But are people just smoking freely in the clubs now as well? Or are they? No. Otherwise, the whole place would just reek, right? Which isn't necessarily a bad thing.
It smells nice.
It's
I like when I smell weed. I'm like, ooh.
It's earthy.
Yeah.
But are they letting that? Or no,
before they put this legislation in, right? Like 2 weeks ago. Now they're like, okay, you need to smoke in a designated smoking room. Okay. You know, or you have to be in like a controlled area. They wanted to put they had to put some laws down or some rules, right? It couldn't just be like free flowing. So before, people would just walk around smoking and it was fine with the police and everything. Now it's like, okay, people want to find somewhere to smoke, or they just go walk on the beach or something, you know. Then not but like,
if the whole club is smoking, I mean, I've been in a room before with people just whatever, and they're smoking, and if you don't smoke, you get high.
Oh, we get like, okay. So we have like, if people are smoking somewhere and like you're in there, you get baked because you can't stay in a room full of secondhand weed smoke, especially if there isn't good ventilation, and not get baked. Like, people get baked for sure. I remember when I was a kid, my brother lives in Amsterdam, right? And it's my half brother, so we have the same mom, and so I would go visit him. Like, I would save up my money all year. I'd work all year while I was in high school, and then selling weed and working in restaurants. And then the summers I'd go to Holland. I'd just disappear. And I remember I was 16 years old. My brother's in a band too, and they had a gig in like a coffee shop bar, and I remember being in there, and I got so baked that like I went outside and puked, and I hadn't drank or smoked any weed. It's just so much weed smoking there. And I was in there for like 2 hours watching the band play that. And I was like, holy fuck, like, what's going on? I was like, oh, I'm so baked. And I had smoked weed and been smoking weed since I was like 12 years old in Canada. But I was like, I hadn't smoked that day because you're not allowed to smoke until you're 18 in Holland. So they wouldn't let me actually like burn in the club. Just chilling there, and I just got fucked. So definitely secondhand weed smoke. If you work in a dispensary and people are smoking there all day, for sure, you the end of the day, you're like, whoa.
Yeah, I guess otherwise people will just be lighting up in restaurants, and it's probably, you know.
Yeah. So
and other people, they don't want that. They're on holiday. It makes
sure, sense. Yeah, and you know, also like if you're walking around on Bangla, there are people that bring kids on Bangla, like especially in the daytime, right? They got strollers, they got babies and stuff. So you can't have them sitting there having a meal at a pub on the terrace, and some dude spark up a big reef and blowing smoke in the kid's face. There's a baby sleeping in a crib, you know, or in a stroller. Yeah. So I mean, in a way it's good. In a way it's, you know, it's you want people to be free, but you also can't be like making other people feel uncomfortable. Right.
Yeah, and on your side, so can you explain a bit about like your location? If people are coming down, they're coming to Patong. Where are you located?
We're in the middle of the beach road. So if you come out of Bangla, like you're going to the beach, you go left. We're about 200 meters up the road. Where there's a big resort called Ban Lai Mai Resort in the middle of the beach road. It's massive, and we're right beside it. There's a little side street. We're right there, and we have right on the beach road now. We have like this little like shelf kiosk thing where we sell joints, and we have bongs in the cabinets and pipes and stuff, and then we have our guy Leo out there handing out flyers. But that's also people, they say, oh, okay, well, I want to buy a gram of this weed, and then he just says, okay, just walk 10
and there's a huge sign.
There's a massive sign. It's gigantic. It's 12 meters long by a meter. So I think it's the biggest cannabis dispensary sign in Phuket.
Yeah, so especially if you're on the beach side.
Yeah, if you're on the beach looking, it's massive, yeah.
All right, sweet. Well, it's 8 o'clock here. We would make this a quick one. I'm going to be filming one. Oh, my God. What's today? Today's Tuesday. So we're filming Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, maybe two.
When do you leave, Hans?
Monday.
Monday. He's going to South Africa. Cool. Hopefully he can get back in. Are you going to be able to get back in?
Oh yeah, I got my ways.
All right. If not,
Yeah.
we're looking for podcast producers.
If not, I'll sneak him
Hans
in.
might not be back in. Send your resume to Hans's Instagram.
Hans is stuck in SouthAfrica.com.
Yeah. Just in case. You can check him out. So yeah.
I'll start a GoFundMe.
Yeah, start Hans a
If not,
GoFundMe to get him
if
back
not,
in.
I'll ship you in I'll sneak you in a shipping container from
With all
South
the
Africa.
bongs,
Yeah, back in
Full
some-
box, yeah.
All right, we're gonna wrap this up tomorrow. A friend of mine, Thomas, will come on. He's been in the fashion industry forever, and he's been in Thailand for 20, 30 years. So we'll talk
With
about
the bikini company and stuff?
Thomas.
Thomas. Okay.
Hey,
Yeah, cool.
we'll get
yeah.
Thomas on. We got Josh Hinger coming on Friday. Jiu-jitsu legend, and Phil is making a return. The health expert that will be on Thursday. But those we're only doing one a week.
I have somebody that you could get on the show. It's he's a doctor. He's a Danish guy named Lars. I'll hook you up with him. Yeah, he's really interesting. He does like
Is he the? I think I know.
he does like something with medicine, like I don't know, it's like herbal medicine or non chemical medicine, and I don't know, health and wellness stuff.
All right.
Yeah, he's an interesting guy.
Sounds like you guys know each other well. I'm joking. I know. Well, no, yeah. I'm always looking to bring on doctors.
Not sexually, if that's what you mean.
Hey. All right. Before we end that, let's check my checklist. I need to like put it there. We just don't have room. Yep. Subscribe
Hang it from a
or unsubscribe. We don't really care what you do. I'm gonna kick it back to Pete. And this is this podcast. We love it so much. Not at 8:00. We kind of want to end it at 8:00 and sell all the equipment. But let's shoot it over to this camera. Just let them know. We'll leave links in the description. I'm sure you're building the social, so that will come out soon as well.
Yeah.
But anything you want to say to your
so
fans?
that
camera over.
this one? Okay.
Which one? That one.
Okay. Yeah, so if you end up coming down to Phuket, welcome to our cannabis and bong dispensary called T.H.C. You can find it on Google Maps. Just put T.H.C. in. It's on the middle of the beach road.
That QR
we
code.
have, here you go.
That'll help. You can scan that QR code off the screen. You can hold that up for a minute. Yeah. My headphones keep cutting in and out. Scan that. That's the Google Map location.
That's the Google Maps. And then, welcome. We have a lot of top shelf and exotic cannabis that will knock your socks off. Welcome.
And if you're a traveler here, they got pipes as well in case you're not wanting to travel around with a bong.
Yeah, and we have some silicone
pipes.
Yeah,
and you have some other like really small like travel. Tons of what else? We have tons of accessories.
We have silicone bongs. We have glass. We have glass and silicone. We got pipes.
We got bongs.
Single
we
hitters.
got bongs.
We got a lot of stuff. And a lot of people buy souvenirs to bring home. So they don't smoke out of them, and then they want a little bong that they can just chuck away when they leave. So you got something for everyone.
There we go. He's got it all for you. All right, we're gonna end that there. So unsubscribe and thanks a lot, and we're out.